once again, a good friend of mine, Bitcoin Zay. Very big in the community, been in the space for a long time. Excited to have this dialogue and this conversation about Bitcoin. And, a lot of my friends and family members see me talking about it all the time. And some of them just ignore it, right? They've been ignoring us since 3 grand, 2 grand. I know you were you got in before that, which is amazing. So, we're going to hop on here. We're going to talk about a couple different subjects, put on that tinfoil toboggan, and we're going to get real spicy today. And before we get started, make sure you head over to swanbitcoin.com/Bitcoin Chris. That way you can get $10 free Bitcoin. And in the future, that's going to be worth a lot more. But the most important thing is that you'll be able to DCA dollar cost average no matter what the price is on autopilot. You don't got to think about it. If you can do $10 a week, $25 a week, $100 a week, $1,000 a week, 10,000, whatever your budget is, do it on autopilot, and your future self and your family will thank you. And the second sponsor of the video is Collapop. If you are any ladies on here that know about collagen, this has 5 collagens in it and a fat burner, so it's good for your hair, good for your skin, good for your nails. And then if you're working out and you want to lose some extra pounds, shout out to Collapop. With that being said,
will it do anything for my hair?
Max got the best legs in the business, right? Or best legs in the community. I got the best hair in the business, so hey, this could possibly help. And it's not just for women; men can take it as well. And that's www.collapop.com. And with that being said, Bitcoin Zay, what's going on, brother?
What's up, brother? Good to be here, man. Glad to be talking with me, my fellow Florida brother.
Absolutely, man. I'm happy that you're now a Florida resident, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy for you, man. I'll be coming down to visit soon. And for anybody on my community or my following that don't know who you are, please introduce yourself.
Oh, yeah. So my name is Bitcoin Zay. I'm also known as Isaiah Jackson, the author of Bitcoin in Black America. Second version actually coming soon. And I'm the host of the daily show, The Gentleman of Crypto, the longest running show in Bitcoin history. And I've done a lot of work with Bitcoin summer camps with, Mayor Suarez here in Miami. Just formally just started the Bitcoin Boat Club so we can start having meetups on my yacht. So a lot of good stuff going on in the Bitcoin world. Been here for 10 years. Always glad to educate anybody who wants to learn.
Absolutely. Excellent, man. And so many accomplishments, and you're such a motivation and inspiration. So I just want to say salute to you. I salute you, man. And I'm happy for you. And I'm always going to be here to support you. And matter of fact, the Bitcoin in Black America book, I'll make sure to put that link in the bio. Where can they go get that book?
Oh, yeah. You can get it at Amazon right now.
Go get it on Amazon, guys. And make sure you support Bitcoin Zay. All right. So I'm going to retweet this out real quick and just make sure everybody's on. But I wanted to jump into, first of all, a couple things, man. I think we should just start off with just being a little bit spicy. And your tweets actually made me want to talk about this because I wasn't aware of this fake ass this fake ass MLK dude, man. Who is this guy? And can you tell me a little? Let's jump into that real quick because
man, you talking about Bushido Brown? Brown, yeah, my boy Bushido. So his real name is Justin L. Pearson, and he's been basically trotted out in the wake of the school shooting that happened in Tennessee. 6 people were killed. The killer was transgender. People showed up to the Tennessee courthouse or Supreme Court, whatever, for a protest against transgender rights or whatnot, or to basically keep their rights. Somehow they marketed this as the Tennessee 3, and they put on a great show, right? It was all theater. They basically, took a guy who was basically like Carlton from Fresh Prince, very well dressed, low haircut, running for student body president at Bowdoin College. I believe that's how you say it, up in Maine. They took this guy and they basically, in my opinion, they cosplayed Martin Luther King and Al Sharpton with the inflections in his voice. He had the civil rights afro. He was rhyming like Al Sharpton. He was basically talking about all these rights that we don't have and that Black people need to be fighting against. And I'm sitting there like, hold up. Hey, none of this shit got anything to do with Black people. I don't even know what this conversation is about. We're talking about a school shooter, which I think is more linked to mental illness, as well as a transgender that did it, which is a whole nother issue. None of this has anything to do with black people. So to me, this was a concerted effort by the Democratic Party to trot out another black person in front of us and make it seem as though that we're fighting the same fight and we're somehow allies and we're both fighting. We're not doing that shit. We're not doing that goofy shit in my era. I'm sorry. Y'all old blacks, y'all fell for that. Y'all still falling for that. Y'all still want to lock arms and walk and protest and sing "We Shall Overcome" and hymnals and shit. That shit is over for my generation. We have the internet my whole life. We can learn, we can see information, and I can see it coming from a mile away for a couple of reasons. For one, my mother, my father, and my mother and my father and my stepmother are all ordained bishops. So I've been in the church my whole life. I know a fake preacher's voice when I hear it. The second thing is, whenever you have a instant pop-up movement that just comes out of nowhere with a hashtag and a bunch of support from certain people, you already know that was manufactured. And you know, just to throw it in there for those of you who don't watch The Gentleman of Crypto, I've said it a long time ago, man. You can't trust these dudes with ponytails. So the other dude, I don't trust him either. The other Justin, I don't trust him either. And neither one of them, they're both fabricated. The first guy said Justin Pearson. He just so happened to go to the same college as D-Ray. Remember D-Ray, Blue Vest?
Yeah.
Just so happened to go to the same college. I think they're pumping out these black civil rights leaders. They're trying to return to the old of the 60s. And I come from a family, they didn't even like the movement in the 60s because they were correct in thinking that it was a waste of time. It doesn't move the needle, which they were correct. Nothing's changed for the black community. So that was the basis of why I tweeted that out. A lot of people supported it, but there were a few bootlicking blacks. They got to jump in and give their 2 cents. Well, these black brothers are just trying to help us out. No, they're not. They're not helping shit. They're just raising fists and talking in a dialect.
Exactly.
Just a mouthpiece. They're not helping anything, man. All of this lip service means nothing. And in the black community, we got to stop it. That's all I was saying. It was like, stop all this playing around with the stuff. It's 2023, man. Say what you got to say, and if it makes sense, we'll go with it. If not, we won't.
Absolutely, man. Great point. I wanted to talk about a couple things as well as far as the black community in general. I actually was I interviewed. I don't know if you saw that tweet or if you follow Bitcoin for the Hood.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
He was saying that I want to get your thoughts on this, and then we'll jump into a couple other things as far as racial tensions go in the community. But he was saying that there's a lot of people in the space that don't include black people as far as Bitcoin goes, like the Bitcoin conference and a couple of the spaces, and just he's saying that he feels secluded because he tried to throw an event and he was trying to get sponsors and nobody would sponsor his event because he's black. I want to get your thoughts on that. I told him to not be so aggressive online and just to be a little bit more friendly, in the DM. He didn't want to really DM too many people. So I was just trying to get your thoughts on that. We had a conversation that's actually live on my channel about it. But I was telling him, like, our mindset as black people, now, not all black people, because there's a lot of black people that actually own Bitcoin, a decent amount. I think there could be more, of course. But I think it's a lot of us, and this is what we've been saying in Clubhouse, right? Or for the last 2 years, last 2-3 years, we got to change our mindset and we got to stop buying shit that don't fucking matter. You're actually a good proponent of that because you said, hey, instead of you buying weed that one time, you just bought Bitcoin, right? And it changed your trajectory, right? Same with me. I was telling, I have belts in here. I have a Louis Vuitton belt that's $800 collecting dust that I never wear, right? But if I would have bought Bitcoin with that, I would have been better. But I learned that Bitcoin changes your thought process, changes your time preference, changes your values, right? So let me get your thoughts on why what you think about the racial tension or the racial disparity in the Bitcoin community or the Bitcoin space, and do you think Bitcoin for the Hood was correct in saying those things?
Oh yeah. So racism is never going away. Let me repeat that. Racism is never going away. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. There's always going to be a motherfucker who doesn't like you, whether it's race, sex, religion, creed, your height, your eye color. Somebody's going to hate you for something. So the racism in the Bitcoin industry, yes, I have acknowledged it. I've spoken on it. And unfortunately, Bitcoin for the Hood, he actually has on Twitter has basically said that I haven't spoken out against any racism. I just want to say to him personally, I don't know where you were when we were talking about Blockfolio niggers, when they put that on Blockfolio. I don't know where you were when we built the Black Bitcoin Billionaires and we got over 150,000 Black people into Bitcoin. I don't know where you were when Bitcoin and Black America came out and I was touring Southeast DC, South Side of Chicago, right on 63rd and MLK, in South Central LA. down here in Florida, in Opelika, in Miami Gardens, in Houston, and all of the hoods that I could get to, Brooklyn and New York. I've gone there. I've been on Oakland. I've been there. So I don't know where he was when I was doing that. I don't know if he knows me. I know he doesn't. But let me just start there because he has said some stuff online. I wish we could have talked about in person because he's so wrong. It wasn't worth the tweet. The second thing is I saw what he was promoting, Bitcoin Block Party. He was asking for sponsors. Here's the thing. My first Bitcoin book tour, you know how I funded it? Myself. I paid for all of it myself. It cost me 5 figures out of pocket, a lot of money, close to six, and I did it myself. Why? Because I'm a man of the people. I go to where the people are. I pay for it myself. I don't ask for sponsors. Some people have wanted to give money, just like we've said on the Gentleman of Crypto. The reason we stay autonomous is because we don't accept a lot of people's money. The same thing. This second go around, I want to accept sponsors because I want to go international, and people keep asking. But I want to tell him, if you want to do something, do it yourself. If your goal for an event to get it funded is to put it out there and say, please give me money, you're never going to get it. It doesn't matter if it's the Bitcoin space, if it's any other space, just putting it out there and say, please give me money, very unlikely that people are going to give it to you. And you can't be mad. You cannot say that the Bitcoin community is racist because they didn't give you personally any money, because I've received donations from plenty of Black people. I've received support from plenty of Black people in the space, and white people, and Mexican, and Jewish, and Chinese. It doesn't matter. In the Bitcoin community, they support things that they like. So Bitcoin Block Party, novel idea. The thing is, bad execution. So if I was speaking to him right now, I would say, let me help you out. I could actually put you in front of some people to help you fund your Bitcoin Block Party. We could collab. We could do a Bitcoin Block Party together, and I could use my crowd, Naja Roberts' crowd, who did her own tour, Lamar Wilson, the Black Bitcoin Billionaires crowd, Reggie Middleton, the father of DeFi crowd. We could bring it all together and have a big Bitcoin Block Party in Oakland or wherever he wants to do it. So that's what I would say to that. And if he does watch this and gets on Twitter, please reach out to me personally. Stop making accusations about who you think I am or what you think I've done. I've been here 10 years. I've done stuff probably before he even knew what the word Bitcoin was. So my job is to help. I'm more, moving towards the helping people status and helping people. And I've done that. So I've employed dozens of Black people. I've funded dozens of Black businesses under the table for free with no want of investment back. I've done all of that stuff. And the proof is in the pudding. So if he wants help with that, I can help.
Hey, I salute you, man. And like I said, I got nothing but respect for you. And I agree. I actually told him, I was like, man, did you not? I actually said these things to him.
Yeah.
I said, Bitcoin Zay is really good in the community. I said, Lamar, he's like, and I said, Black Bitcoin Billionaire. He's like, no, man, he works for the white man. I'm like, bro, chill, bro. And I was like,
Yeah,
bro,
well, see, this is the thing I don't get sometimes with Black people is that working for the white man, that is a 1960s George Jefferson ass trope. That's an old nigga trope. That we're done with that era of working for the white man or I work for the white. You work for a person, and if that person happens to be white, cool. Or you get sponsorships from a person. That person happens to be white, cool. But the thing is, in the Bitcoin community, it's built for everyone. It's for anybody who wants to participate. Therefore, Black, white, Asian, it doesn't matter what your race is, it can get done in the Bitcoin community. And I've seen it myself. I've seen it with human rights foundations. I've seen it with the work that I've done as well. So if he thinks I don't want to support somebody because they work for the white man, hey man, you can't ask the white man for money, and you can't say fuck you and then say give me money. So that's why I said I would love to help him because his frustration may be warranted, but at a
that's the way to
certain
go
point,
about
you
it.
got to let that go.
Absolutely. That's what I was telling him. I agree with that. We just got some chats in the comment here. Zay's the truth from Ghana. We're reaching people all over the world. We got people in Africa that say, hey, they vibing with us, man. And I remember being on Clubhouse every day for almost 2 years straight,
Mhm.
educating the people. And I got burnt out that I had to take a hiatus. I had to get up off of Clubhouse. I had to get up
Yeah, me
off of that.
too.
I
Yeah.
had to get off of social media in general because I got so burnt out. But we were reaching people in Middle East and Dubai, all over the world, in Asia, and we put in that work. And unfortunately, a lot of people, they don't see that work. They don't see the late nights and the
Hmm.
hard work that we put in. Because they think, and then when you do pop right, and when you are successful, when you do get that recognition, they think you're an overnight success, not knowing that you've been in the business for 10 years, right? Not knowing that I've been
Exactly.
in the space since 2016, right? Not knowing that I
Right.
got a Bitcoin tattoo on my face, right?
Yeah,
Not knowing that
exactly.
I sacrificed so much just to stack Bitcoin because I understand uh, the long term goal, right? It's an
Oh yeah.
investment for me. It's for my child, right? And you have a child as well, so we understand
Hmm.
it's not about us at the end of the day. It's about helping other
Mhm.
people and helping people get to that next level. So again, I
Yeah, and let me just say, I sacrificed my hair for this industry. I had a beautiful head of hair before the stress of staying up till 4 a.m. and then going to work at 7 every day for 3 years, 4 years straight, and then moving into. Nobody saw that. Nobody saw all the super late nights, and nobody saw all the traveling up and down 85, going to do presentations for one single person. I've done that at least 10 times. Presentation for one single person, or for 2 or 3 people, or for a group of people who all are against you. I've done that for years. Like the hate that Bitcoin gets now is kind of funny to me now, because I'm like, I was doing it live and in person before y'all even knew it existed. So yeah, people don't know the sacrifices. That one day they'll get it. Maybe I'll write a memoir later in the future and explain to them all of the losses that had to occur for this to happen, and maybe they'll appreciate it. But in the meantime, I'm just putting my head down and work.
Absolutely. I got a couple chats here. Shout out to Jump Out Girls. I'm going to be live with them later on. I think now
Hey.
is a great time to be doing lives and to be talking more and to just be a little bit more. Now that I'm not burnt out, right? It took a nice year off. I feel a little bit more compelled to, you know, talk more and be a little bit more outspoken, right? And so are the Jump Out Girls. So shout out to the Jump Out Girls. This comment is funny. Best hair in the Bitcoin community, and you say the best bald head and the best
Oh
long.
yeah. As I say, I'm going for the best beard. I think we're gonna have a best beard title at some point. I'm trying to get
There
that,
you
but I
go.
don't know. I don't know. It's some stiff competition there. I don't know.
That's what's up. All right, so let's jump into the next topic. Again, let's summarize that real quick. Racism is going to be prevalent, no matter where you go. You know, my child is mixed. It's funny because his child is mixed. Bitcoin for the Hood. His child is mixed, right?
Mm,
Um, I love all people. I believe in all people. I don't care what your color, race. It's about your character. Right? So I could care
right.
less what you look like, and what your religion is and all that good stuff. So we just got to do
Right.
better. We gotta raise the frequency. It's not about you how you look, guys. It's about your soul and if you
Hold
are a
on.
good person at the end of the day. So with
Hmm.
that being said, shout out to you and thanks for addressing that for me.
Hmm.
The next thing I want to jump into is let's put on that tinfoil toboggan real quick. All right,
Yeah. Let's do it. Put
let's
it
do it.
on.
All right, so I agree with you as far as the owner or the creator of Cash App that he just so happened to get stabbed up
Yeah.
in San Fran. Like out of all the people, tell me why you think it's on purpose because you touched a little bit on it, but I know King doesn't think that, right? He thinks it's just a coincidence. I don't think it's coincidence. There are no coincidences, right? There are
Nah,
no
not to me.
coincidences.
Nah,
Me
I'm
neither.
done. I'm done with coincidences. I would much rather take the opposite view of something and be proven wrong than to just go along and get along, because that's like 90%. You already know it's terrible. So the for people who are watching who don't know, the CEO, former CEO and creator of Cash App, he actually was stabbed to death in San Francisco, not far from his home. I don't think. And I actually got to speak with him when I was working with Cash App to implement Bitcoin. That's another thing with the Black community. Cash App is the blackest app in America, and me and Lamar helped put Bitcoin. We did the first Bitcoin transaction on Cash App. Like my resume runs too deep with that, but beside the point. The guy who helped create Cash App, Crazy Bob, great guy, very very smart guy, stabbed to death, and the next day they put out. It wasn't that day specifically, but the next day they basically stated that Fed now was coming in July. We knew this, me and you, and a lot of the people that watched the show. But I think mainstream just finally was like, "Hold up, Cash App guy gets killed," and then they put as a post, "We're building the government Cash App, Fed now." So it was just eerie to me that that happened so close together. And I don't believe in conspiracies. I think he's one of those people that because he has the knowledge of a payment system, he could have potentially been someone that could have spoken out and said that, yeah, don't use this. This is better. Using Cash App is better or whatever. I think that may have been a reason. Now, could it have been coincidence? There's always a chance because it is San Francisco, which I do want to shit on San Francisco a little bit. I can't
Go
stand
ahead.
San Francisco. I
I
think San
can't stand
Francisco.
LA. I can't stand
That's what I'm saying.
LA.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, San Francisco is worse. I think San Francisco is the worst city in America. It's run by the worst politicians. You got the dirtiest downtown. You got to step over heroin needles just to walk down the street. You got crackheads taking over. Elon just called it a zombie town yesterday. San Francisco, like I went on a whole tirade on Twitter, but I'm serious. If I never go to San Francisco again, it'll be too soon. Like I don't have any love for San Francisco. So it is something there in the air of San Francisco where crime is running rampant to the point where a guy that's worth hundreds of millions of dollars could be stabbed on the street like a dog, like just a regular vagrant, just out in the street, just get stabbed up. And unfortunately, he passed away. And I do not think it was a coincidence. I think that between before him, I do not think Silvergate and all of the other banks that failed, that was not a coincidence. I do not think that last summer when all of those crypto companies went down, they were stupid. I mean, the people who were running it, but they were patsies for something bigger. They got FT. It was just FTX got out of the paint. Luna, all of these, they were scamming, of course, but these people that were in control, they just used them as patsies. None of this was by accident. All of this was to chop off a lot of the on ramps for people to be able to enter into the Bitcoin and crypto industry, and to make it harder for you or for you and me to really get anybody into the industry, because they're like, well, it looks like the government is going to, take it away. It looks like the government might regulate it. All of
All
this
the
is
Ned
not a coincidence.
Flanders, all the Ned Flanders going to be scared. Oh,
All
they
the
say,
Ned Flanders.
Bitcoin is bad and Bitcoin it uses too much. Shut your bitch ass up,
For a bunch of
what?
NPCs walking
Yeah,
around brainless, wondering when the government's going to take this. This is how you have you have a defeated population. When you give somebody a solution to a problem, and their first response is, "Well, what does the government think?" Motherfucker, who cares? Do it. Like nobody started the internet, and halfway through the creation of it said, "Well, what if the government? What if the government?" Of course they're gonna show up. That's what they do. That's what regulators are there for. The problem is to innovate faster than they can regulate, and that is what we're striving for in the Bitcoin space. However, you're right. A bunch of Ned Flanders walking down the street, uh, thinking that their government has their best interest at heart. I mean, it's pretty sad in my opinion, but unfortunately, or I should say, but fortunately, we will have the upper hand at the end. That's all. That's all I know. So right now, it's just more of a. It's just funny to think about.
absolutely. Somebody said that Los Angeles is beautiful. Just inform you says it's beautiful. No, don't get me wrong. LA got some dope homes. I think it's a great place to be at to visit. But there's a lot of homeless people, right? Skid
Hmm.
Row is crazy.
Oh yeah,
The traffic is stupid. Um,
stupid.
the
What?
mindset of the
What?
people there are so superficial. Y'all care about the dumbest shit, right? Y'all care about
Oh no.
shit that really don't matter. Y'all mad superficial, in my opinion.
Hmm.
And also, y'all vibes is y'all cool in LA and whatnot, but I can't live. I can't personally live there. It's not a
Yeah,
vibe
yeah,
for me. The gas is too
yeah.
expensive.
See, this is one thing I've noticed too is that I lived in LA for the last 6 years, right?
Yeah,
All of those things you named, they are relevant to LA. But the only way I was going to move there is if none of those things would affect me. So, for example, the traffic aspect, I made sure I lived in an area where I could walk 90% of the time because traffic is trash. I did not want to sit in that ever. Another
bro.
thing, the vibe with people. There's so many transplants, like entertainers, athletes, that show up with a motive. They have a motive to make money or to get into this business, so they fake like they like you. I used to always start off by saying, I'm not in the industry, so you don't got fake shit with me. I don't have nothing to do with y'all. I'm just here. Like me and King, we kind of operated on our own. So I do see what you're saying about LA, but the reason why I loved it is because all that stuff you said, I just made sure it wasn't a part of my life. I am not dealing with fake people. I got my
Yeah,
tribe. I got like 5 of my boys out there. Like
yeah.
I was good, but yeah, you're right. For a lot of people, LA post pandemic, especially, whew, man, it got bad. That's why I had to get up out of there.
Um, I had not gonna name any names, but I know some people that live out there, right? And
Hmm.
also because I teach financial education, right? And a lot of people
Hmm.
out there, they're living like paycheck to paycheck, right? They're not really
Right.
financially astute, right? So I try to put a couple people on out there, right? Some people are receptive to it, but most people don't even care about like their credit, bro. And they're struggling, and they don't
Hmm.
even care, bro. They would rather like spend money on lattes, right, and coffee and whatnot, and versus
Avocado toast.
hey, and if that's what you like, that's what you like. But they won't even invest in themselves. You dig? It's the mindset
Hmm.
that kills you. So,
Right.
and we know about the industry as well. Like if you know anything about spirituality, then you already know you got to do for you to even get to that level. You got to do something
Mhm.
that ain't. It's all borderline satanic. You dig? So
Oh
it
yeah,
is what it is. You got to do
all
something
the
that
way.
you all the way exactly, and people want to act naive to that fact, and I used to too because I'm a recording artist as well. But I understood at a young age that hey, you know they doing a lot of weird shit, you know, in the industry, and for you to get to
Yeah.
that level, and also they take advantage of you. The lawyers take advantage of you. The labels take advantage of you. So
Hmm.
I actually thank God that I didn't get signed to a major label or wasn't in no situation where I could have been taken advantage of or got a ton of money at a young age where I didn't know anything about money. You dig? And I would have blew it on
Hmm.
dumb shit because you know most of these rappers is broke.
Yeah, of course. And
Most
I
of these
saw it in
rappers,
LA. I saw it in LA for the first time in my life. I saw it in real life. Like
yeah,
their handlers put them in a house. Their record label puts them in cars. Their record label gives them money or gives them money to throw at a club because that's all tax write-offs. So they look
exactly.
like they have money. But if you talk to them, like I know a few rappers. I have a good friend Swish. He's a big manager out in LA. They're
Hmm.
struggling. They trying to scrap up money for studio time. They trying to figure out how they going. They just sent their boys a bunch of money and their family off that deal, and then they're like, "Oh, well, you owe us 2 million after we gave you that million," and they're in debt now. They're indebted forever. But you scratch the surface about the satanic part of it. Let's just go ahead and go all the way deep with it.
Let's go
These
into it, man. Let's
these
go into it because you
these,
know this
these
spicy.
niggas,
You know, we gonna get
hey,
into it.
these niggas in the music industry are getting invited to these weird ass parties. They getting you on tape doing gay shit, and they're using it for blackmail. That's how
Absolutely.
these people sign these terrible 360 deals. That's how they don't really make any money in the long term. And if you really try to get your publishing, Prince, Michael Jackson, dead. They will kill you. So that's the thing. That's why most of them are scared to even try. And then if you get too high up and you're not on there, a few people have, a few people can fall through the cracks. Most of the people that I know that made money, they were very independent and they didn't join the industry. Like I'm from North Carolina. I come from independence, like Ninth Wonder and like Rhapsody and that crowd where it's independent and they did it themselves. You're
Yeah,
not gonna be super famous, but you're also not gonna owe anybody either. You know what I mean? You can
that's
live a
right.
good life. And people
It's a
like that,
trade off.
usually exactly those are the people that make it. But in the music industry, they make it seem like you want to be famous, you want to get all the girls, right? You want to be the one that's and all that is fleeting. That is very fleeting. And Kanye explained it to you all. He's so deep into it now. He just got out of this funk where he basically realized, wow, the contracts are terrible. They hook you up with these people for these fake relationships that are going to end. It's just to give both of y'all promotion. These managers talk to each other, and these managers, much like Kanye's, they'll give you drugs or they'll give you recommendations to use this person, use that person. All of this, they'll give you the tools to destroy yourself. Put it like that. So that's
Absolutely.
that music industry. I got to see it live and in person, and I'm so glad I'm not a musician because it would break my heart for the thing that I love to do to be so bastardized and to be so tainted at this point that if you're just a regular artist who makes music, they look at you like, well, where your chains at? Where your cars at? And you looking at them like, I make music, bro. You either buy it or you don't. Like it's just like any other product. You don't need to
Absolutely.
look like the Migos in order to be a successful musician. Like, get
Oh
out of it.
man,
You got to change your mindset.
I want to say two things, bro. First thing is as a recording artist now and growing up listening to the music that we listen to, which I also told Bitcoin from the Hood about. He's like, bro, why do you? I was like, bro, why do you think? He's like, why do you think people don't want to be in the hood? I'm like, bro, do you not listen? And I told him it's because of the music. The music perpetuates drug use, calling women B
Yeah.
words, killing each other, the vibration.
Right.
No other community has music that degrades themselves, right?
Yeah.
And kills themselves. No Asian people are talking about kill another Asian. No Latin. Well, I guess Latin people are considered black kids. You know, they come from black. And that's another story. You know, black people.
Yeah.
You know, black people created everybody. In case you didn't
Yeah.
know. And
Hmm.
anyways, I digress. Anyways, there's no other community that talks about and degrades each other like how we do.
Yeah.
So I starts with the music, and I'm actually I'm glad that I know better now. But you know, I'm kind of pissed off that I wasted those years of my life listening to such poisonous music. You even tweeted about it about that basketball dude. Was the basketball dude that was in the?
John Morant.
And can you rephrase your tweet and explain what your tweet was saying about what he was doing with the music?
Yeah, sure. So John Morant, he is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. He's a professional basketball player. He's 23. He's young. He's definitely one of these people who has made it. If you had to make a definition for somebody who's made it, doing what you love, making hundreds of millions of dollars to support your family, and he has his girl and his kid and everything. Somehow, because he's young, I understand. I was dumb when I was 23 too, but the music gets a lot of our youth. And what I was putting across is that the vibrational frequencies from music is so low vibrational that it literally alters your mind state to think that I can be like a rapper. And his favorite rapper apparently is NBA Youngboy. He says his lyrics all the time. And I'm like, if you listen to murder, murder, death, kill, murder, murder all the time, and fuck that nigga and fuck that bitch and I'm a kid. It's going to rot your mind. And if you listen to it as a kid, which I did, I like we listen to it, but the thing is balance. Most people call me an old soul because I would listen to Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, and whatever in my free time. And then when I'm around my friends, I'm listening to all the rap that everybody know. But once I got older and I didn't really care about what people thought, I'm listening to more 70s music and listening, you know what I mean? I'm turning on Curtis Mayfield and people are like, how old are you, bro? Like, this is freshman year of college. I'm like, I don't give a shit about rap. Like, I like it. I love it. It gets you hyped in certain areas, but I have balance. So I know, but I grew up in neighborhood. People will say, well, the music, it doesn't determine anything. And I'm like, trust me, I grew up in neighborhoods where for every one of us that the music didn't affect, 10 of it did. Like I have friends that definitely did drive-bys and they were listening to certain music when they did it, who sold drugs because they learned how to. I learned, me personally, I learned how to make crack from a Joel Santana song. I literally learned that in a song. Like, so if I did it, I know other people did. And I got friends that have done it and they will tell you this is the music. And if you need anything else, there's 7 sacred magical sound frequencies. I'm glad you brought this up because I was literally just reading about this.
Let's
I
go.
wrote about this. I wrote about this on Twitter, and people were like, "Oh, well, Bitcoiners have gone too far." I'm like, "No, motherfucker, we read. Bitcoiners is don't trust, verify. This is
We
why
read.
you see
That's the key
Bitcoiners. We
word. We
read.
read.
You
Read.
have to know."
Hold up. So my AirPod just conked out, but yeah. So 7 sacred magical sound frequencies: 432 hertz, miracle tone of nature; 28,000 hertz, levitates matter; 126 hertz, sound of the sun; 528 hertz actually repairs DNA; 174 hertz is a natural anesthetic; 963 hertz activates your pineal gland; and binaural beats induces out of body experiences. So please don't try to tell me that the vibration of music has no effect on you, because people will say, I listened to rap my whole life and look how I turned out. Yeah, mediocre. Most people turned out mediocre. And most of the rich people and the people who have made it, they did not indulge in that type of music. And I hate that black people equate that those two have nothing to do with each other. And I'm like, do you understand? When you see a
Ooh,
walking down the street
ooh.
reciting lyrics like he's
Kanye don't
possessed,
let his kids listen to that. Cardi B
yeah,
don't let her kids listen to rap music. You feel me?
no,
So Jay-Z don't let his kids listen to rap. So what does that tell you? They'll
hey,
feed you the poison, but they don't let their kids listen to the poison. I also listen
exactly.
to 88 hertz, 888, right? Because
Mm-hmm,
I'm also into numerology, which you are as well.
mm-hmm,
I also believe in astrology and I believe in God as well. Even though the Bible says you really shouldn't be into that, but you can take the information and the knowledge and apply it as you see fit. You feel me? However,
absolutely.
I listen to 8888 hertz all the time, right? That is the abundance and money frequency.
Abundance of
And
money. Yep. Mm-hmm,
absolutely. And what I also do is I have speakers, right? And so because our body is made out of water, right? And if you
right.
guys know about the frequencies, your body's, what are we, 90, I don't even know the percent, 70, 80, 90%
70%
water.
water. 70% water. Yep.
70% water. So what I do is I play the frequencies through my speakers into my water, right? I play
Mm-hmm.
it to the water. So the water is now vibrating, right, at that frequency. Now I drink the water. On top of that, I'm listening to the sounds and the frequencies. So all the way around, I'm getting these frequencies. And I don't even listen to rap. I be listening to Christian music, just
Mm-hmm.
because I can tell the difference in my room when I play that
Mm-hmm.
music. I listen to Yanni, I listen to classical music, Mozart, I listen to pop and rock, like a little bit of that. But for the
Mm-hmm.
most part, I'm not even listening to music. I'm listening to frequencies, or I'm listening to podcasts. I'm listening to you guys on the Gentleman of
Yeah.
Crypto. I'm always learning. I'm always watching something that I can learn from. Max Kaiser, shout out to Max Kaiser and Stacy Herbert. I used to watch. They're the reasons why I was really into Bitcoin, is because they introduced me to it.
That's who got me into Bitcoin. Way back in
Exactly.
2013. Max going crazy on TV. The bankers trash. He ripping up money, yelling. He was like, everything is bullshit. The bankers are taking your money. The Federal Reserve is covering the inflation. And that I was sitting, I was like, I don't know who this crazy white boy is, but I'm gonna listen because because if he's saying the entire industry is terrible, I'm gonna listen to that shit. But yeah, Max and Stacy, shout out to them. They helped get me into the industry as well.
I love them so much, man. Without them, I wouldn't even be a Bitcoiner, man. So absolutely, man. And we're gonna do this for
I wish I had some dollars on me so I could rip it up.
this
Uh-huh.
is trash, guys. Get you some Bitcoin. All right.
Get you some Bitcoin.
Excellent, excellent, man. I love the conversation so far. Let's jump into the next topic, man. Next
Mm-hmm.
topic is going to be Bitcoin price. Where do you see it going? I know you were saying you're thinking that we could still retrace back, right? As if I'm not mistaken, Let us know what your thoughts about the Bitcoin price. I'll let you know my thoughts about the Bitcoin price and what's going on and why do you think we're going up so fast? And what are your thoughts?
Oh yeah. So I think we are basically repeating 2019. And what I mean by that is in 2019, we had a big upsurge from about 3,000. The highest we reached that year was, I think, 12,000 at a certain point, and people thought the Bitcoin bull run was about to start right back. And then it leveled out and didn't do much for about 6 or 7 months. It smashed in March 2020, and then the bull run commenced. That's what I think is going to happen with this. We're repeating 2019. We're having a quick upsurge of bullish tendencies. I think we'll hit somewhere. I've already said I was like at 35 to 40. This invalidates my theory, but I think we'll hit somewhere between 35 and 40 before tax day, which is 4 days away. Tax day, when most people are selling their assets to pay for their taxes, which is in 4 days, you might see a huge drawdown. What I'm also looking for is in this second quarter, there's already banks and institutions that are saying that this is going to be a tough second quarter. I've already had insight from traders, technical analysis, as well as my spiritual advisor, that mid-May is the time to look for a huge drop in the value of the dollar prices, stock prices, commodities, as well as Bitcoin, as well as everything, all at once. And I think that's going to be the shock to the market needed in May in order to introduce the Fed Now payment system in July, and then later the CBD system for retail. That's my thoughts on the price. Of course, you know, I don't care about price as much because 1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin. But for those of you who do use that as a way to value how much Bitcoin is, the one thing I would say is at this point, your dollar cost averaging thumbs should be getting to work. You should be smash buying every single time you can. And shout out to you with the new song Smash Buy out right now. My boy Bitcoin Chris. Listened to it last night. But yeah, you should be smash buying as much as possible because what we're about to see in this next bull run, again, the next happening is in 2024. All right. Every single happening on average, Bitcoin, I believe, does about 1,800% on average after every happening, which is coming next year, right? So you have about a year to get your shit together. That's basically what I'm telling people. Because 2028 is barely going to be any Bitcoin around for people to buy. We got rid of all the paper Bitcoin, or most of the paper Bitcoin outside of Grayscale. We got rid of a lot of the bad actors and scammers in the Bitcoin industry. We have MicroStrategy, which has so much Bitcoin that banks are hedging their bets by investing in MicroStrategy. It's actually quite genius. Shout out to Michael Saylor. Bank of America, Fidelity, they are all invested into MicroStrategy because they have Bitcoin as a backup. Why? Because they cannot buy Bitcoin directly, which is an advantage for us. You own more Bitcoin than banks. Think about that. You can flip on your head the entire economic industry as we know it. They are going to beg for your Bitcoin as a backup when the dollar loses its dominance over the world. We've already saw BRICS come. We saw the CBDC rolled out. On the Gentleman of Crypto, let me just say, we were speaking about this in 2018. And now 5 years later, financial gurus are showing up saying, yeah, I've been warning people about this for the last few months. Try 5 years, my nigga. We've been talking about CBDC since then. That's what's coming. And this next bull run, I think, is going to melt faces. I think it's going to go to the price that Max is saying, 220.
220. I think so as well. I think so as well.
Then that's just based on historical growth. Like people don't understand. Demand is rising way faster than ever before. But you know what isn't? Supply. Supply is getting smaller and smaller very, very quickly because exchanges are getting cut off and people they have less ways to buy it and people are less likely to sell it. I think I saw the other day that over 80% of wallets haven't moved in the last year. And I think 50% haven't moved in the last 5 and like 30% in the last 10. So it's starting to become where people are hoarding Bitcoin. They're like, I'm not moving this shit ever. I'm one of those people. I have Bitcoin. I'm never going to move. It's just out there. It's just sitting somewhere. So as soon as you start seeing that and people need it, because in America, we're fucking spoiled. Everybody thinks because we have a relatively stable currency, what do I need Bitcoin for? What do I need to use it for? I can get in dollars. I got a money phone to my ear. I got a bank account. Yeah, fuck that. When you show up to your bank account and they tell you there's no withdrawals, you don't have a backup option. I would say for watching, have at least 3 months of your savings or 3 months of living in Bitcoin, just in case shit does hit the fan. Because you're not going to have a backup option to go to. There's not going to be some backup bank if they just shut down for a few weeks or a few days. So you got to have that in place. And I think as far as price goes, Bitcoin is going to melt your face with this first happening. And then in the next happening, 2028,
million.
Y'all probably not even gonna know who. Y'all probably not gonna hear from me. I'm gonna be on the island somewhere, relaxing with my family, sipping my ties. I'm probably gonna write one more book called "I Told You So," and I'm just gonna copy and paste that motherfucker 100 times throughout the book and just put it out for free. That's all I'm gonna do.
All right. So, all right, that's what's up. My thoughts on the Bitcoin price is I think a lot of people, I understand what you're saying that we might dump down. And I was thinking that as well. I was expecting us to hit 23, come back down to 20, when we were at 28. We didn't. I think because of the banks, right? Because the bank failures are more, they're, and I've been saying this in my videos, so I've been making videos, right? It's a little bit too quiet. It's a little bit too quiet for all the shit that's been going on, right? So they're
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
keep all the disruption on under
A
wraps
lot
because
of
they already
distraction.
seen, they already seen what happened with Silvergate and how many people took their money out like that, right? They was like, all right, cool, we found out. Instantly, money was being withdrawn. So now that they seen the reaction, they're keeping all that shit on the hush hush, right?
Mhm.
So I think, and I don't trust the mainstream media. If anybody in here listens to the mainstream media, MSN, Fox, and CNBC, whatever, it don't matter. If you listen to any of these people, you are an NPC, you are a sheep. They lie to you. They continuously lie to you. And if you take anything that they say for what they say, you're going to be misled. If you do the opposite of what the government and what the news tell you, then you'll be okay. You listen to what they tell you, you will not be okay. And that's my
Yeah.
personal opinion.
Mhm.
But I think because of the bank failures, they're creating the problem, right? They're going to make sure that they shut everything down and everything goes bad, right? Because they want to introduce the CBDC. They already have the solution. Haley, she actually tweeted that the government just posted a tweet about how they don't have permission or they will have to wait for Congress to implement the CBDC. And I'm like, that's bullshit. They
Yeah.
already have the solution. They're going to make the banks fail, right? Except for the major four. Who are the major four? J.P. Morgan Chase, Bank of
Mhm.
America. Who's the other two?
Citibank and I believe Goldman Sachs, but don't quote me on that.
Okay, so they're going to probably have those three or four banks, right? And they're
Mhm.
going to be the ones that's going to be in charge and that's going to be under the government, right? And everybody else is going to fail. That's my personal opinion, and I think a lot more people are privy to that information and privy to what's hip because there's a lot of sheep out there, but there's also some people that use their common sense too, But there's not as many as the sheep, unfortunately. So
Mhm.
I think they're going to create that problem. They already created the problem, right? They already have the solution. They're going to make the banks fail. I think everybody will get scared, but I don't think Bitcoin is going to dip anymore. We
Mhm.
could dip, but I don't think so. I don't want it to dip. If it dips, more buying opportunities for us, and the
Mhm.
more people that don't buy, more Bitcoin for us. But I think the banks. I don't know if you saw my tweet. Unify Federal Credit Union allows you to buy Bitcoin through the back portal. Because I signed my mom up for that bank, and you can actually buy Bitcoin in the bank portal on their website, right? Which is
Right.
absolutely crazy because we were talking about that in 2021, 2020 when they were talking about it, right? So now it's actually a thing now, right? That you
Yeah.
can actually do. So I think Bitcoin can hit 40 to 50, 40,000. I think before we see a correction, right? Maybe
Yeah.
back down to 25,
Mhm.
35, come down maybe 10%,
Yeah.
10 to 20%, and then back off to the races. And, I think 220 is in play, like Max Kaiser said. Anybody
Mhm.
that fades Max Kaiser by now, bro, you're a dummy. You are a dummy. Like Max has been on point for over 10 years. Max and Stacy have been on point about
Mhm.
everything for the past 10 years. He's in
Yeah.
El Salvador. I'm going to be sliding out there real soon. And, that's my thoughts on that, man.
Oh yeah, yeah. And if we kept with the price points from the last bull run, that huge drawdown in March 2020, I think something
Yeah.
similar is going to happen with the price. We would have to be somewhere around 15k, like 12 to 15k, to get
What
to
would be
200.
the What would
Yeah.
be the
So
black swan event to have that happen? Because we already know
um,
that the banks are going to fail. Do you think that's going to be the black swan event?
couple of
And
things. I think the
okay,
banks failing, dollar de-dollarization
devaluation.
happening, but also a small thing in the cut that people aren't really thinking about: tether. If tether, which hasn't been really touched, as you notice, they haven't really been touched. What if something were to just so happen to tether? That would be a lot of liquidity that will be sucked out of the market at one time, like really quickly. So I'm talking about a candle, an $8,000 candle going down that would scare the shit out of everybody, clear out all the retail except for people like us, and then it would just proceed to be the bull market to 200 or something thousand, and people would miss it again, just like last time when it shot down to 5,000 I got 100 calls from family members. Oh my God, what's happening? Is it over? Is it the experience? No. And then what did it do at the end of 2020? Got all the way up to 69,000. I think that's something similar is going to happen. Can I pull up this picture here? Because I don't know if some people
Yeah,
are.
yeah. No, how do you do that? How do you?
Let me share my screen. I think it's possible for me to share it.
Yeah,
I should. Can
yeah,
you see this?
yeah. Absolutely. There you go.
Okay, so for those of you, 'cause I'm so used to doing the show, for those of you who didn't know that this existed, a lot of people have quoted this as being. Let me get this picture up. A lot of people have quoted this picture right here. Get ready for world currency. People thought they were talking about Bitcoin, and I would always tell them, I said, if that was the case, they did a terrible job creating a world currency that they can control, because you can't control Bitcoin. I said it's going to be in the form of a digital banking currency. And look at it came in 1988. This is how long that this has been in the works of what's coming, right? So people need to realize that they've had a plan that's older than myself. It's 35 years old. They've been working on, and it's probably even before that the plan's got into place. And if you know anything, because we're going deep here, and let me jump off real quick, because we're going deep here. If you look at that Phoenix, one of the things, the people who control the money system, they are satanic occultist pedophiles, people. If you didn't know, these are not nice people. They're fucking psychopaths who will kill you and your family just to keep the money train rolling. The reason why this was created, this actual world economist thing, was to foreshadow the fact that out of the ashes rises the phoenix, which is one of the occult symbols of many of the satanic and Illuminati occults that have been created. That is deliberate. They put that there for a reason. That world currency was supposed to come around the year 2018. It did not, because there were a few things that came in place. Bitcoin showed up in 2009, and all of a sudden, that was the Black Swan event that messed up their plans. So it pushed it back a little bit. Doesn't mean they're going to stop it. It just pushed it back just a little bit. They were almost right with 2018, because we're at 2023, probably in 2024. It'll be, in full production. But to me, there's much more spiritual things happening at this moment. And because money, by the people who created and have put it out into the world, to them, they have used money magic. They have basically said, give us your goods, and we'll give you paper dollars. And people took it. That is literally a form of magic. That is basically bastardized alchemy. I can take your gold and turn it. I can take your gold and turn it into my gold. And that is basically what they've done. They started that in 1933. We got off the gold standard in 71. And at this point, they've been planning to put this world currency out for a long time. Time magazine is nothing more than a propaganda rag for the elites who are showing you what they're doing. In the satanic occult culture, what you have to understand is that they always have to tell you before they do it. So that
I just said this last night on my live stream.
so they don't have to atone for their quote unquote sins. What it means by that, and my guy Andrew Tate said this beautifully. He said, if you show up to an apple stand and they say apples and you eat it and it's poisonous, it's their fault. But if they put poisonous apples and you show up and eat it, technically it's not their fault, because they told you it's poisonous apples. Even if you would think to yourself, why would you poison an apple? Yeah, that's psychopath shit. They still have to do it. So they have to tell you. That's why you have predictive programming in Hollywood. That's why you have things like this magazine cover that you just saw from 1988. How the hell would they have, you're coming with a world currency in 1988 before the internet was even proliferated all the way? They knew this was coming. It was a part of the plan. It's more of a spiritual thing. For those of you, I don't care about your religious backgrounds, but if you do believe that there is an awakening or a rapture or a rise in vibrations to 5D with the Pleiadians, whatever you believe, there is a change coming. There's a big change coming, and the whole catalyst is based off of money. That's why I hate having these other nefarious conversations. Like, people talk about a bunch of shit, and I'm like, who cares? Yeah, the root cause is the money, and they know this. Your boy Nathan Rothschild even said it himself, I care not who runs the country, I care who runs the money supply, and I run the money supply. And even though, technically speaking, the Rothschilds, they're middle management. They're not even at the top. So I'm not even really talking about them running everything. They're middle management. That's why you can see their faces. The people that really run shit, you don't know these people. But what I will say is, for the most part, it's based off of money. And because we're going, like you said, because we're going deep, a lot of people need to realize that this is not just some random occurrence. This is a spiritual battle. And I wish more people understood that, because then they would start thinking to themselves how important it is that you need to get your money right so that you can support your family. Because famine, bread lines, your banks closing, All of that stuff is possible right now. They could do it right now. Motherfuckers were fighting over toilet tissue 3 years
In
ago.
2020, exactly.
Imagine a grocery store with no eggs and no milk and no nothing for a week. It's gonna be the purge. Yeah,
Exactly.
in real life. And that's what people don't understand is that you have to have a sense of urgency. You have to stop backing down from people who are trying to fill your brain with this horseshit from the mainstream media, like you stated, like Jim Cramer. Jim Cramer literally has a bot that does the opposite of what he says. That bot is a 90% hit rate. That's what they do. They give you 90% bullshit, and then 10% they sprinkle the facts on like parsley, and they try and placate you with that just to say, yeah, we told the truth about that. Remember, we took it's bullshit. Stop it. And I'm tired of it. And that's the thing too, is the reason I'm kind of going hard at people on Twitter, especially in the Black community, is because the time for games is over. It's over, people. Like that shit it was fun. We had the Wild West, the Bitcoin and crypto, and then all these NFTs and DAOs and DeFis, and we had conferences, and you had a bunch of goofy niggas doing drugs on yachts, whatever. That time has gone. This is the real fight. This is Bitcoin versus crypto is like Michael Jordan versus Brian Scalabrine. Like, who gives a shit? Like, that's not even a match. We're talking about the big boss here. This is the person y'all wanted. This is what you were actually fighting against. Let's not lose track of why we're here. And that's why it's important, because these people, they have to try and control everything, because this is actually written that this is how it's going to happen. The satanic people that run the world, that run your money, they know their time is up. All they can do is influence you to join their team. That's it. They can't stop you from raising your vibration or your frequency. Like Tesla said, the entire world is run off frequency and vibrations. If you understood that, you would understand much more about how the world works. That's why a guy like me can start with $400 10 years ago and can move to a millionaire status in 10 years. Not because I'm some special person. I read, I pray, and I focus on frequency and vibrations and things that help you long term attract the things that you want, not just for me, but for the people around me. So I just don't understand how people don't see this. I can tell this to a whole group. If I said this to a room full of 1,000 people, I guarantee you only 100 would take me serious, and then only 10 would act on it. The other 900, I can't help you. And at this point, I kind of don't want to. I would be more likely to help, but I got a daughter now. Fuck all y'all. I don't give a shit about y'all anymore. I'm not in the business of helping adults who don't want to be helped. Help yourself then, motherfucker. Because I'm helping people that want to be helped.
Absolutely. You can only lead the horse to water. You can't make him drink. Absolutely, man. You just went off on a crazy tangent, man. And you
had to get that out, man. It's been on my heart.
And that's why I wanted to get you on here, man. Because you need to get your message, my message, our message needs to get out there, man. And you don't get to talk like this on a Gentleman of Crypto. So I want to make sure that at least here you can talk your talk. You feel me? Because we have a message that needs to be heard. So, man, man, this live is fire, bro.
I do want to address one of your commenters, Adam Latron Bear. He said this is Nazi land, Operation Paperclip. You know what's funny, Adam Latron? You know what's funny about this? Somebody was talking about the Tennessee 3, that bullshit we was talking about, and I said there's much bigger enemies to worry about, like the Jesuits, like NASA, like UN. Somebody actually commented and said, NASA? What does NASA have to do with anything? And I was like, do y'all not understand that NASA was started by the Nazis, Werner von Braun, and then, of course, the other scientists were mostly German, and then the other Nazis, they went to Argentina. They didn't have trials and kill them. Hitler didn't. I don't think he committed suicide. They sent him to Argentina, up in the hills, and that's why you got a bunch of blue-eyed white babies in Argentina now, after 2 generations, that still Heil Hitler and still keep Nazi paraphernalia in their trunk. That is exactly what actually happened. In the U.S., we took their best. This is what happened. We took their best players and we left all the other ones. That's what we did. That's what we did in America. You know why? Because America is not a country. It's a business. If we want to attract the best talent, it don't matter if they were our rivals. We take y'all best from y'all best C-suite. We take them and we add it to our corporation. Right. And then NASA, which has gone on to land on the moon, which I don't even believe that either. Like I said, we got the 10-4 toboggan on today. If we'd have been to the moon, why the fuck we can't go back? That's all I want to ask. Now, I ain't gonna go much deeper than that, but I do know NASA's guarding a lot of sites that have a lot of pyramids and a lot of ancient technology that I think outpaces our technology today. They can't let you find that out, because if you found that out, then maybe you would think that everything that we're doing today is a bastardized version of what we actually do. So yeah, I just wanted to comment on that, because most people, if you say Operation Paperclip in public, same thing. 1,000 people, you might have 10 people, maybe 2 or 3 that might even act on it. But these things are real, people. These are classified documents that I actually have on multiple servers and hard drives that I keep just in case a motherfucker want to try me. That's all I got to say.
Fuck around and find out.
Look
No, but
around and
seriously,
find out.
David Icke was talking about. You touched on a couple of things I want to touch on. So you talked about predictive programming. Correct. Yesterday, Mars crossing $10.50. That was my alert. Um, so anybody that's in the mining stocks, Mars just crossed $10.50. Anyways, predictive programming, Demolition Man. In Demolition Man, they talked about the disparity in the classes, right? They had the poor people down on the ground, they had the rich people above ground. They predicted in 1993 that COVID or a disease pretty much wiped out a lot of the population, so now they're not allowed to have sex. They put on a machine, they put on like
Mhm.
Oculus Drift to have sex, bro. And,
That's
and
cool.
in this movie back in 1993, they had FaceTime in 1993. They had censorship. If you were to
Mhm.
cuss, they gave you a ticket. In the movie in 1993, they had driving Teslas, driving cars by itself in a movie, Demolition Man, that was came out in 1993. Again, that
Mhm.
is correct. They have to tell you what they're going to do before they do it to
Yeah.
evade their karma. If
Yeah.
they don't tell you, then they do get that bad karma.
Yeah.
So if they
And
tell
that's
you what
real.
they're going to do, then fair game because you
Yeah.
allowed them to do it.
And you know what's interesting is that sometimes I talk to people, and when you say nothing is new, they actually will argue. No, no, we got new technology. We got new this. No, 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 no. Name something from today. I guarantee you it was created before. And the only thing that stopped it from pushing to where it is today, it was probably either destroyed by their government or the inventor himself didn't have enough money to push it to market. Because electric cars, that's been around since the late 1800s. They've had electric cars. The FaceTime thing you're talking about, you can find old photos of people creating their own similar FaceTimes back in the 1800s. Everything that we have today is just updated technology from before, and we still haven't caught up to the 30, 40, 50,000 years ago, ancient Kemet. I mean, the fact that they may have used the pyramids as a power grid in order to have free electricity is crazy to me. Like, we haven't gotten anywhere close to that, but we do have the capability. I do know that. If you know Billy Carson, anybody that follows Billy Carson, he's
Absolutely.
actually in. Yeah, he's in the Florida area. Billy Carson has actually stated that technologically wise, we're 300 years ahead. 300. You can't even fathom how far technology has gone. So the fact that they're rolling it out slowly, all that is
Yeah.
them basically making sure that y'all don't freak out. Because imagine if somebody
They
could walk
they
through the
dropped
wall.
that technology. They wouldn't know what to do with it.
They wouldn't know
They
what to
wouldn't know
like.
what to
Everybody would,
do.
oh my god, wow! Somebody just walked through a wall on live TV. What the fuck? This is a ghost, a demon. They would just go crazy. So they know
Yeah.
they can't put it out all at once, even though technically, because a solid substance is nothing more than slowed down vibrations. If you actually found a way to match that vibration with your actual hand, you would be able to put your hand directly through it. Which that technology already exists. It's just a matter of, can you do it consistently, and what are the risks of it? You know what I mean? Like, all of those things matter. So that
Absolutely.
technology, nothing's new, man. Nothing, even
Absolutely.
Bitcoin. Bitcoin's always been here. We just had to find it.
Discovery. Not
Discovery.
an
That's it.
invention. Discovery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. They definitely have the technology that they suppress because people are dumb, bro. People are
Mm-hmm.
fighting, and like you said, they're fighting over toilet paper, bro. People are in road rage, and if they have flying cars, there's accidents already with normal cars. If you had flying cars, it'd be idiots flying into buildings and drinking
Oh,
and driving in a flying car. That's even worse, you know. So they can't allow you idiots to have technology because you can't even control yourself with the shit that we have now.
exactly.
And
Mm-hmm.
and you also mentioned something about Americans being spoiled, which is something that I've campaigned on on Clubhouse.
So
We
spoiled.
are ridiculously spoiled, right? We go to Africa, and anybody that's here in America, and I also said this to Bitcoin in the Hood, right? Because he said Black Americans got it bad in America. I was like, you know, that's a perspective from us being here, but if you go to any other country in the world, even though we're in the hood, it's still better than anywhere else in the world
Yes.
because of the the what's it called, the way of living,
Yeah. Cost of living.
cost of living, and just how our dollar, is just so much more. So if you go to DR, you go to Africa, you go to Jamaica. I went to Jamaica back on a cruise back in like 2019, 2018. Bro, they got no AC. They got huts. They
Yeah.
outside in this hot ass sun, bro, and they don't
Mhm.
even have plumbing. But you complaining about dumb shit
Yeah.
here in America because you don't understand what you got.
I'm with
And
you.
stop making excuses. It's the mindset. It's the mindset. It's the mindset. So
Mhm.
we need to travel more. If you don't understand that you got it good, you need to travel out of America because you got it good. Stop making
Oh yeah.
excuses.
Hey man, the black community's GDP on a global scale is top 10. If we were our own country, we'd be a top 10 country in the world, and we're
But we buy
inside of
Hennessy,
another GDP.
we
So when
buying
people say,
Hennessy, we buying
yeah,
weed, we buying Jordans, we buying
yeah,
all this shit, and then we talk about we don't got no money. Yeah, we do got money. We
exactly.
just buy
And,
dumb
and
shit.
and every time some people say that, I'm like, yo, you're walking around with $1,000 computer in your pocket. What the fuck are you talking about? There's never been an easier time in human history. This is the richest nation in human history that we can account for, like in modern human history, not of all time, right? In the richest country, the poorest people still have cell phones. The poorest people still have some sort of program where you can get housing. They have, man, like I said, I've been in Mexico. I've been in places in Barbados. I'm talking about kids running around, no shoes, no socks, no AC. People are there and still happy.
They
That's the
happy
thing.
as
Is
well.
like
They
here,
happy, boy.
they keep a lot of black people on this hamster wheel of oppression because it makes money. Anytime you can call out something that affects black people, we're so emotional because most of our community is matriarchal and raised by a lot of single mothers and a lot of emotional influence in our community. For some reason, our first issue is to lash out and say, well, it was racist. So everything else is, they throw the baby out with the bathwater. I don't want to hear nothing you got to say because I perceive you as racist or I perceive that I'm oppressed. If I hear one more motherfucker tell me they are oppressed in America, it's gonna drive me up a fucking wall. That's why I stopped teaching because I had a bunch. I was in the lowest, the literally the lowest income area in Raleigh, North Carolina, where I was at, and I'm holding all of my black students to the same standard as anybody else. I'm holding them there, and I have parents who are mad that I'm holding their kids to the same standard as everybody else. That's a defeated community. That's when there's an issue where, in your mind, if you already think, well, I'm oppressed, so I can't get shit done. Well, there's something wrong, so I
You
can't
already
get,
lost.
I can't rock with that. And the thing is, as a man, especially, there really is no excuse. I mean, as a woman, you might be able to get away with it a little bit because you're not looked at as a protector and a provider. But as a man, I'm not going to take that excuse at face value and be a statistic. Don't be a statistic. I think most of those statistics are actually wrong about a lot of black people because have you ever taken a census, Chris?
No, actually, I haven't.
I've
And they
never
say a
met a
lot.
black person who's taken the census. Not in my
Absolutely.
family, not in
They
my
also
friends.
say
How the
absolutely,
fuck
and
do they get that information in the Census Bureau? Because I don't know any black people that ever took it. So stop worrying about statistics so much. Think about yourself. Can you succeed? Yes. Can you then help your family to succeed? Yes. Can they then help their friends and family succeed? Yes. You know what you just did? You just helped hundreds of people succeed. That's pretty much all you have to do in your life. You don't have to help everybody. That's the problem. Everybody they go for low hanging fruit. Well, we should do something so everybody can benefit. Well, if you try to help everybody, you're gonna end up
you
helping
don't help
nobody.
nobody. Exactly.
So so stop it. I like black Americans who are talking about the things that happen in this America. Is it not possible to both acknowledge that it exists, but also plan for a future where we can make sure it doesn't happen again? Is that not possible? Or do you have to be on one side or the other? You got to be a coon if you don't believe it, if you're not fighting for the thing, or do you got to be a house nigga if you think that you actually have a shot in this world to succeed? And as much as these niggas pray, how the fuck do y'all not think God got y'all back like I do? Like I think, hey, God got my back. I don't know about y'all, but if as much as y'all niggas pray and y'all still think that a human being can hold you down, then you must be doing something wrong, nigga, because that's not how the creator works. That's not how the actual world and the vibrations and the connection between people actually work. So yeah, I'm with you there. And like I said, I'm actually anxious to get on a some sort of panel or some sort of podcast where I can have other black people who have those same, thought processes, because I want to show up with my data and my facts and statistics and be able to articulate why you have these white liberals and Democrats on this hamster wheel of oppression, because it sells, because it makes you feel as though if you're always oppressed, there's always something to fight against. That's just, I mean, that's nothing but another form of mental slavery at that point. I'm a free man, and it starts right here mentally, like we've stated. It's all mental. You can give a motherfucker $1 million tomorrow, but if mentally he doesn't feel free, he's going to enslave himself with bills. He's going to enslave himself with Gucci belts and enslave himself with a car that he can't afford, or some house with a mortgage that's inflated. He's still going to go back and enslave himself. So it doesn't even matter about giving you money. That's why I like Bitcoin. You have to work for it, and it changes your mindset in the process. Delayed gratification, generational wealth. What exactly is a money system? What is scarcity? How do we think about money? Why do we buy the things that we buy? Why do we have certain ways and cultures based on the money system that we have? Because if we start doing that, and I can actually get on a panel or some sort of podcast like that, I think I'll probably be in the class with the coons or the whatever names they want to call you. Whenever you actually think when you're a free man, when they're like, look at this nigga, think he actually free. Look at this nigga, think he actually can make change. Why don't you come join us over here where we oppress together? Like, I mean, nigga, what are we talking about here, dog? Like, I can't wait for that day or those days when it happens. And I've been close, but I think they saw some of my podcasts and they was like, no, we can't have this nigga in here. No.
Yeah, you got to create. We gonna make it happen. That's why you on this. That's why you on my channel. You dig? So
Exactly.
that way we can get these thoughts out there, man. But
yeah.
there were slaves that were in the house, right? And there were slaves that were out the house. And the people forget there were black people that were not slaves. So don't forget that. So there's also, if you guys go to Germany right now, they got black people, which are the Moors, as their statues. You know why? Because black people were there first.
Yes.
And unfortunately, we were infiltrated and whatnot. And you notice a lot of these holidays that y'all celebrate is really the demise of our people. So you guys need to do some due diligence and do your research. But yes, man, I'm not political at all. I do have some conservative. I guess I would say I'm more conservative. Um, I'm a little bit. There's things I like on both sides of the spectrum, but I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm a free thinker, and I'm a man, and I believe in what's right, and I know what's wrong. So just like
I'm
you were
with you.
saying,
I don't vote in national elections. I think they're useless. I think the presidents are chosen. I think most Congress members are chosen. There's a reason why every single president who's raised the most money has won. Every single one. And there's a reason why, like I said, I don't choose sides. All I say is, if I had to choose a side, I'm choosing the side that allows me to keep my guns and lowers taxes. That's all I'm saying. But whichever side that shit is on, I'm there, because that gives me the ability to protect and provide for my family. I don't need any other help from people. Like, people are looking to the government, well, why don't they solve this? And why don't they do this? And why don't they implement this? And I'm like, why don't you stop asking motherfuckers for shit? How about that? How about we try that for once?
When have they ever solved anything?
If they ever solved anything, please.
They
In the
haven't.
history of all right, let's just start at the Civil Rights Act as far as the black community at 64.
Ooh,
I just tweeted this out because I'm ready to get back on the phone almost, just so I can start having this debate on Twitter. Stagnant growth in income, stagnant in households, in new households, same across the board from the 60s. We did nothing in the last 60 years to move the needle. Nothing to move generational wealth. Highest rate of single motherhood ever. We got all these little poo shiesties running around, fucking up the streets because they're going back home to their mother or to their grandmother, or they're going home to a mother in one house, a father in another house, and they're being told two different things. So they go with what's easiest, which is usually, who would you rather face if you got in trouble, your mom or your dad? You would much rather face your mom. So they do that shit when they with their mom. They're not slick. I know what these teenagers are doing because I did it. I had divorced parents. When I was with my dad, they military style. We doing everything. When I was with my mom, I was like, who cares if I come back a little late? You know what I mean? What's she gonna do? Whoop me? I'm 6 inches taller than her. That she can't hurt. You know what I mean? Like, I know this mindset. We got these poo shiesties running around. We got a bunch of single mothers. We have the highest suicide rate ever. We have the highest drug usage rate ever. We have so much sexual degeneracy in our community that people can't even focus. Literally, I mean, you got people that are on OnlyFans. The porn on Twitter is ridiculous. And you got, people that are basically selling their soul for $1. This is the black community post Civil Rights Act. Now let's go before that, because I wrote about this in Bitcoin in Black America. How did we build all these Black Wall Streets right after the Emancipation Proclamation? I mean, literally, less than 10 years after 1863 when it was passed, we talking about the first Black Wall Streets popping up in Illinois, popping up in Florida, popping up in North Carolina, popping up everywhere. How are we able to do that without a certain political party on our side? How are we able to do that without a certain government Fair Housing Act, and all of these acts that they didn't put together. You know, the Civil Rights Act and affirmative action actually helps the most white women. If you didn't know that, white women are 5 times more likely to gain jobs based on their affirmative action status than any black people. So you fought for white women. Congratulations, old niggas. You got us basically doing. And that's one of the things that I think a lot of people need to understand about most of the history you learned was force-fed to you in public education by people who want you to stay subservient. If you look at who created the public education system that we know today, the Rockefeller Foundation, you know what they created? They created good little slaves. You are subservient, you listen, you sit down, you don't have thoughts, you don't have anything extra that you want to do. Get rid of everything that can help you out spiritually, like music class, art class, band. All that shit is gone now. We just basically want you to come and work in the American corporation. And that's what we have. And that's what has happened in the black community, which is who I talk about mostly. So I don't want to hear, none of this shit has worked. So the thing about Bitcoin is we're trying something new. We're going to try something radical, something actually radical, not just in meaning, literally. The most radical thing you can do right now is buy Bitcoin. And it's a peaceful protest. If you are a fat, lazy nobody, you can sit on your couch and you can buy Bitcoin right now for $1 via Cash App, or you can get Bitcoin for free using Fold, using S-Miles. You can walk, play chess, and earn Bitcoin. Get on Bitcoin Magazine. Read articles. You get five satoshis every time you read an article. Use Fold and Lolly. Every time you buy something, you get sats back in the form of Bitcoin. You can do all of that. All of that is peaceful protest. Move your money out of this current system because you're funding your own oppression. Fiat is for bombs. Bitcoin is for peace. This is what I'm trying to get apart, especially to the people in my community and to the broader community, because for everybody it affects. Inflation is not racist. Inflation affects everybody. The current Federal Reserve, it is not racist just against us. The Federal Reserve is actually against everybody because, like I stated before, you have these satanic psychopaths who are using money magic in order to take money out of your pocket and put it into theirs. And they're smiling in your face while they do it, and the politicians are keeping you pacified with a little bit of crumbs here and there. Oh, look, we passed this little law. We passed this little act. We did this little thing for you. And these bootlicking old "we shall overcome as Negroes" keep taking it, and I'm sick and tired of it. My generation, we're gonna have to use the information we have from the internet. We're gonna have to use the tools we have with Bitcoin, and we're gonna have to push forward to actually build a world that me and you want to see, not the world that was told to us by mainstream media or by social media.
Absolutely, man. And you're on point, man. You're on fire. We're the people that wrote the history books. They want us controlled. They have all the power. They tell you what to do. You're a sheep. You listen to them. You're right, man. In school, they are training you to be slaves, just like you said.
Mm-hmm.
I personally have always been the person that's been defiant, right? I don't like anybody telling me what to do. I don't like when I was working at a job, right? I don't like you telling me when I can go to the bathroom, or I have to raise my hand to go to the bathroom, or you tell me when I go to lunch when I'm hungry. Like, nah, bro, that's not gonna play. That don't play well with me. Um, and and it shouldn't for you either. That's why I encourage people to start your own business. I encourage people to learn about credit. I encourage you because we in the system, right? Of course, we want to opt out of the system, but if you can leverage the system to get into a position to where you're not dependent on the system, and that these people are taking advantage of you, like Zay said, these public servants get paid by us and they don't do shit for us, and that's
No.
the most. It pisses me off the most, because they're the
Yeah.
laziest motherfuckers on the planet, right? They just fucking suck on the public tit, right? And they don't do nothing, right? They don't do nothing for us, but
And they don't
sit in
have an
office,
original thought in their head.
they
Like,
don't.
stop sticking up to these politicians. They don't have an original, innovative thought in their head. They sit and wait for you to innovate and for you to create, and then they figure out how to regulate. That's how they operate. And the politicians of today are even worse than the ones before because it's so much money in politics now. I'm not talking about the money they show you as, oh, they make $120,000 a year. Then how the fuck does Elizabeth Warren have $65 million? That's what I'm saying. Like, how Nancy Pelosi, based on data, will be the best stock trader of all time.
On
How
planet
is
Earth,
that?
that's right.
Because they get into politics to find the people with money, to figure out who has the money, who's going to donate to me. I'm going to make policies that are favorable to you, either lower taxes or you get favorable locations or things of that nature. And then you give me kickbacks in office in the form of business deals or other, or after I leave, for example, as a president, I can go and I can do a $1 million dinner for 50 people. Those are all things that politicians do. Politicians are there to simply pacify the people, make you believe that they're going to do something important in your community when you have all the evidence that they're not. But somehow these motherfuckers keep showing up at these polls in line. They stand in line in the heat,
for
in the
hours,
cold,
for hours.
Put down one vote so that one of your votes can. I'm just talking about national elections here. I do agree with local and state because your education, your roads, your trash, your police, all of that comes from local. So most of you all should be focusing local, and most of you all can't even name your mayor or one person on the city council. So I don't even want to hear that shit. But from a national standpoint, a national election, you got people that stand in the rain, in the cold, in the hot, in the heat to cast one vote that's only going to count at one precinct for one county for one state in the electoral college, which is still determined by an outside party. You're not doing shit. That's all that means. Your voting doesn't mean anything. And if we want to go with a community that can prove me right, look at the Asian community. Number one in education, highest income earners, lowest crime in America, least voter turnout every single year. Every single year. So I don't want to hear the shit anymore. And in the black community, the reason I'm sick of it, I'm only 34 years old, and people twice my age are still spouting this bullshit. And I'm like, just look at the last 60 years. Nothing has changed. Just because y'all niggas can go eat in white people's restaurants, y'all did something? Just because y'all niggas can go drink the white man's water, y'all did something? Is this we are the world bullshit? Black and brown and white and BIPOC? What the fuck is that? Black, indigenous, people of color, get that bullshit out of my face. All of that is distractions. None of that actually moves the needle. And that's what I'm saying is none of this actually has done anything, but it pacifies you enough so that you can basically, well, I'm just trying to get on and get by. Just trying to make it to the next day. I couldn't stand when I used to hear older black people say that shit, like just trying to make it to the next day. Trying to get this last little bit for the bill. You're trying to be mediocre, and I'm not. And that's why I said, I can't wait to get on a panel like this. I'm glad you gave me this forum. So, like I said, I mean, it's sad to see, and politicians are not there to help you. Let it go. I don't care if they're black. I don't care if it's a woman. I don't care if they're gay. They're not there to help you. They're there to use your emotions against you. Take the money out of your pocket and put it in the theirs. That's it.
That's right, man. This is so fire, man. And I'm glad we're talking here. Actually, before I got on the live with you, I did a video. I drew this bull flag and we popped out. I set an alert. We're pulling back now, but Bitcoin we're pumping, man. And where do you think Bitcoin's going to go? You said 30, 30, 34, 35, 40?
Yeah, in between 35 and 40. If it goes past 40, it invalidates my thesis, but we'll see. Where's it at now? 34?
We had 30. We had 30,003. 33.
I can see it. Okay, cool.
Yeah. My bad. I just had to pop up. I get them alerts, so I'd be getting excited. With that being said, let's see if there's anything else I want to talk about. But we can always, if you're available and if you're down, man, at least once a week or twice a month or something, we can hop on here and just talk about the current events and talk about what we need to talk about. Because again, I want to get more active. I want to encourage more people, especially people in our community and the younger generation. Like you said, I don't really care about the old people because they're the ones that control. They have 90-year-old politicians, 80-year-old politicians. All these old people are not going to change nothing. They don't want to change it. They in the current system, so they're not going to change anything. We need to focus on the young.
Yeah, and I did see Justin informed me. He said, "Stall the old niggas out, man." You know what? You're right. I don't mean to go too hard on them. I'm just saying the decisions they made were wrong. In hindsight, it's 2020. But any nigga under the age of 40, you getting all the smoke. You had the internet. You had all the information. You've had just as much social media as anybody else. I don't want to hear it. So you're right. I'm gonna bring all the smoke to the young niggas and the younger crowd because they've had the information. A lot of the older people, they might have had a radio. They might have had a TV, maybe. But mostly everything was newspaper and what was told, just amongst themselves, just word of mouth. So yeah, they basically, they get a pass from me in that respect. However, they do need to know that the decisions they made were wrong. and to sit this one out, unless you're on the side of the people who are trying to change how we do things. You're still trying to do it the same old way. We can do without you. And that was my main thing on that.
Absolutely. Zay, you know your shit. We got a bunch of comments here. I'm just going through them real quick. Zay, you know your shit. Credit is the devil. I disagree. If you're financially illiterate and you're dumb and you're buying shit that you're not supposed to buy on your credit and then you don't pay your credit, it actually can hurt you. But if you're smart and you use it the right way, it can actually benefit you, because if you don't have the money, then the banks will give you money. Then you can use that money to make money, which is what the rich and wealthy people do. Is what you need to do, which is why I teach that. Fuck a politician. Let's see. That's just political. Hook it up. Let's see. Fuck a politician. I agree. Only thing in the world. The only thing is the world is runs on debt. See BTC take for everything because you can't for poor folks.
Oh yeah. The thing is, the thing with debt is that you have to have some sort of collateral, and I think that Bitcoin is the best collateral that you can have. So when people start taking on debt in the future, Bitcoin collateral is probably going to be more valuable than home collateral, just because there's a possibility that we could have a collapse like 08, 09. The thing with Bitcoin is, over a long period of time, you won't have that same issue. So yeah, I think the world does run on debt currently, and the bridge to get where we're going, where debt won't necessarily be the way that the economy works, I still think Bitcoin would be the best collateral.
I agree. I don't like real estate. I like real estate, but I don't like real estate. One is because they can actually take it away from you. Real estate is not the best asset on planet Earth. Bitcoin is. It's also the best performing digital asset ever, period, that's ever been created. So if you don't pay your taxes on your home, guess what? Uncle Sam's going to come take your home away. Okay. Bitcoin, even if you don't pay taxes, if you're trading, you're doing that dumb shit, they'll put your ass in jail. But guess what? They cannot take away your Bitcoin, guys. They are, well, they could torture you. You know, there's methods that they can use, right? I mean, let's be honest. But the overall ethos is that they cannot take it from you guys, no matter what, and that's very important. And
yeah, people get into real estate. We had a debate with a real estate girl.
I remember her.
Yeah, and she was like, "Well, no, real estate is more important. Cash flow is important." First thing I do want to address is when you said you don't own any property. I do want to read this off because I've been going through a lot of stuff reading today. As far as property, let's see. You own no property. Slaves can't own property. Read the deed to the property that you think is yours. You are listed as a tenant. This is from Senate Document 43, 73rd Congress, first session. Technically, even if you have a mortgage, you are a slave. You do not own shit. So when these real estate people try to come at me with ownership, you need to own land and own it. I just look at them like, the only thing you actually own is your private keys in your head with your Bitcoin. That's really the only thing you own. And the thing is, I mean, most people don't realize that. But another thing with real estate that I've always said is, you buy a house, Chris, right? Why does that I'm saying just for example.
Okay, yeah.
Just for example, you buy a house. Why does that house go up in value?
It doesn't. The U.S. dollar goes down in value.
Exactly, and that's what they don't understand. They're looking at the death of the dollar. You're not looking at your house increase. Motherfucker ain't fixed the doorknob on his house in 10 years. Talking about my house was $250, now it's $500. Why would that be? Why would your house double in price and it's half as good? Because the value of the dollar is decreasing. That's not actually.
And you know how that's the simplest explanation, and people still don't get that, bro. They still don't get it.
You understand purchasing power.
It's crazy. It's your purchasing power, and then they recognize it when they go get gas, right? When they go get food, right? They recognize it then, and they listen to the then they listen to the CPI report. Oh no, inflation's under control. Are you fucking dumb? Are you dumb, bro? Are you dumb, bro? You must be fucking dumb, bro.
Yes, they are dumb. We're gonna have to get to that point. You know what got me to that point? I gave people benefit of the doubt until the pandemic. I lost all hope in humanity after that. 80% of humanity, I would say. I lost hope because you can't really explain away the fact that there's still people walking around outside with a mask on in 2023. I mean, they actually made the official announcement yesterday. They made the official announcement that the pandemic is over. One sentence, they took away your businesses, they took away your livelihood, you couldn't see your family, you couldn't travel, they told you were sick, they made you get vaccines that could possibly kill you, and you know what they did in return? One sentence on the U.S. government website: the pandemic is over, COVID is no longer blah, 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 is no longer a national emergency. That's it. They sent your ass one sentence. It's just like people that work for 50 years and when you retire, They give your ass a pen. They thank you for your service. That's it. That's all they give you. They did the same shit with this, and that's why I lost a lot of hope in humanity, because I see how far people will go to bow down to what they're scared of. Fear. I'm sorry, I just didn't grow up scared. That's a gift and a curse, because I've taken chances that the average man would never take. But I've also gotten opportunities that the average man wouldn't get because of lack of fear for a lot of things. I don't fear much. Like I said, I fear God. I don't fear any man. And the thing is, with that healthy fear of most of the American society, they got them. And I didn't think that. I thought it was going to be America uprising. Like, nah, hell no, man. This is America. This
You
is
see what's
free.
going on in France and Paris?
Yeah,
You
y'all
know,
niggas is softer than wet tissue paper. I don't want to hear it.
we super soft, but I think it's because of the food that we eat, the programming, the conditioning. Also, Adam Trottenberg, bro, there's just so many things, bro. Americans are spoiled rotten, bro, and that's how we're spoiled, because the government can disrespect us and lie to us right now. You see, and that's why I respect the Trump 20. I respect Trumpers, bro. I respect people that vote for Trump. You know why? Because they actually stand up and they grab their nuts, bro. They grab their nuts and they say, if we don't like something, they're gonna stand up and do something. That's why they have their guns, right?
Yeah.
They have their guns. You're not gonna tell anybody that believes in the Constitution that they can't have their guns. They're gonna automatically. That's an automatic red flag. They're gonna rise up. That's why I respect them, because they stand for something. At least they stand for something. If you don't stand for anything, you are gonna fall for everything.
Yep. And that ethos that you just said, I'm glad you said that, because in the Black community, somehow we've been tricked, not us, but the Black community has been tricked that we should have gun control because there's violence in Black communities. Nigga, no. Those are called criminals. They're going to get guns whether the law is there or not. How are you going to protect yourself? That is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. You can't tell me there's gun violence and what's your combating against gun. Please don't shoot anybody. No, you need to get some too. And I grew up in North Carolina with country white boys who know how to hunt, fish, build, shoot, survive. That's where I grew up. I also come from a family where my grandfather and my great grandmother, they owned a club. And a lot of the wives and a lot of the white women used to go to that club. They used to get jealous. They used to try and break up and throw rocks to the window and try and shoot it up. You know what my grandparents and his 9 brothers and my great grandmother, who used to walk around with a shotgun, did? They shot back. I don't come from a scary stock. I don't come from scared Negroes. I'm sorry. I don't come from, please leave us alone. We just trying to get about. No, we shoot back. That's why our family has been as successful as it has been, because I don't come from a scared lineage. And if we had 1 million Black people like me and you, Chris, who are like, no, we need our guns and I want more, then you would actually have some leverage to change something. But when you're pacifying, that didn't work out for the communists too well, did it? Everybody hand over your guns. Yeah, here you fucking go. You know why Japan didn't attack us in World War II? You know what the Japanese leader actually said after Pearl Harbor? He said, because there will be a gun behind every blade of grass. That's what his exact words were. If we attack America, there will be a gun behind every blade of grass. And we have more guns than that now. So when people talk about you can't defend yourself, what you gonna do? You gonna fight the government? Yeah, if I have to. What, you scared to die? You mean the one thing that's guaranteed in life? You scared, nigga? You scared? That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't get that. Like, and it comes from a lot of people who claim to believe in God and claim to be Christian and claim they're going to heaven. You should be the most outright, out front motherfuckers. I hate that they turn Jesus into some hippie that is pacified by everything. That nigga Jesus walked into the money changers and flipped their shit over, bro. Literally.
Exactly.
Fuck
And
y'all.
the day that he talked about the banks, and we just passed Easter, right? So in Easter, rabbits don't lay eggs, guys. What the hell does a rabbit have to do with Jesus? Can y'all explain this to me, please? Anyways, the day that he talked about, and it was pretty much trashing the banks, right? The people that were taking advantage of the people were the bankers, right? And it's the day after that they went to kill Jesus, bro. So anybody that defies the bankers, they're gonna come after you.
And you know Jesus' only problem, even though he did resurrect, his only problem, he was centralized. Now we're decentralized. So now we have a better shot because we got allies that we don't even know, and we're all fighting it at the same time. So that's the difference, and that is something that I'm looking forward to.
We're all one color, and that's orange. And another thing I want to say is that if they ban the guns, right, guys? If they ban guns for everybody, right, which it doesn't make sense, and I don't think they'll do it. But if they did do it, then who has all the guns, guys?
All the bad guys. Thanks,
people
guys.
that don't give a fuck about the rules, right? So why
Yeah,
would you? Why that doesn't even make sense? But some people rationalize this shit, right?
of course.
Uh,
Yeah. And they have to because they're getting paid off by these gatekeepers, by certain political parties to toe the line, to keep everybody in place. And you know when you stepped over that line, because I've been canceled twice. I've been
yeah,
canceled twice. Now, of course, as you see, this shit don't matter to me because being canceled is nothing more than I figured out who my enemies are. That's all cancel means to me. It's like, all right, I figured out who my enemies are. We can move on now. But of course, that is the prevailing rhetoric at this point that we should give up our guns in order to reduce violence. That might be the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. Because again, you go to places that have a lot of guns, very respectable, very nice. Everybody has manners. Niggas is holding doors open and helping old ladies to the car. Because if you know everybody and their mama is probably strapped, you're
you
not
ain't
gonna
gonna
try
do
people.
nothing stupid.
Like that shit
Exactly.
you see in San Francisco and California, there
They
were
ain't got no
people running
gun.
in stores and running out, and local mom and pop shops getting in fist fights and stabbed and shot and all.
That shit
Not
would
not
never happen in Texas. That shit would never
not
happen here in Florida because you will get
no.
your ass popped.
That shit ain't happening in North Carolina either. That's what I'm saying. Like, bro, we come from areas where this is ingrained in the South. Like, you had to do for self because when you live in the country, like where my great grandmother and where they stayed at, they had hundreds of acres of land. There is nobody you can call to come. Police? What? No. Hey, can you please come? No. That's why they had a lot of children. That's why they all had guns. That's why everybody know how to shoot, and we lost that. That's what I'm saying. Everybody, a lot of the great migration of Black people to cities, Baltimore, Chicago, New York, Philly, everybody went to inner cities because they felt more safe in these smaller metropolitan areas where we all had our own communities. The problem is the great migration is going backwards now. People are leaving these big cities because they cost too much. They're coming back to these more country places like Florida, North Carolina, Georgia, but they lost all the skills. They're not farmers. They don't know shit about raising sugarcane or compost. They don't know anything about shooting, hunting, fishing. Some of them wouldn't even kill something to feed themselves because they're vegan. They then went to the city and got these vegan pussies that showed up and like, oh, well, now we can't be killing
I don't want
God's.
to kill the
Hey,
animals.
you be killing God's creation. Okay, well, get hungry enough in the woods and see if you don't chop up a rabbit and have you some good old rabbit soup. Them country boys in North Carolina taught me how to do it, showed me how to slice up deer. My uncle taught me how to cut up fish. All of these things are life skills. And that's the thing that I think a lot of Black people have forgotten living in these cities. We think we're uppity and up class, and not just Black people, everybody. A lot of the modern day people, we forgot these skills, but it's coming back. Trust me. A lot of people are going to be running to my farm. I can tell you that right now. A lot of my family members are going to be sprinting down to Bitcoin Zay farm, trying to help themselves and feed themselves when the inevitable happens, which we talked about earlier with the famine and the control of money.
Absolutely. Let's address this guy. And this is for any president. No president is going to save you guys. No president can save you guys.
Nah.
I agree. I agree. I agree with some things that he says. I disagree with some things that all presidents say. You're not going to agree with everything that everybody says. So get that out of your mind. No president is going to save you, and that's the problem. I tweeted this a while ago. It actually came up on my memories on Facebook. Is the problem is you think a president can save you more? You think that the president has more control over your life than you do? And once you take personal responsibility and you understand it's your responsibility to change your life and to do what you need to do to better your family, to better your situation, right? Then your life will change. But until then, until you get that in your head, until you understand that and you continue to think that, hey, oh, my life is going to get better if Obama is the president or Joe Biden, Trump is the president. If that's your frame of thinking, you're never going to succeed in life because you're then placing the responsibility onto someone else. And now that's just being lazy, right? You need to take accountability. And a lot of people lack accountability, especially the women nowadays. You mentioned earlier that women are selling pictures of their butthole for $3, bro. And that's also the men's fault, bro. That's also the men's fault, bro. Because
Oh
if
yeah, it wouldn't if they didn't have a
paying for
market.
it,
If they didn't have a
they're
market, they
paying
wouldn't
for it.
sell it. It's too many
Exactly.
simps. Like you said, the testosterone levels of an 18-year-old male or that of a 60-year-old male. Like it's just the simping is out of control. Like if they
Not
wouldn't have
paying
a
for
market, they wouldn't
it.
sell it.
Exactly. I feel bad for men growing up nowadays, because they're I don't personally want a woman that's on OnlyFans, I don't personally want a woman that's half naked on Instagram all day, and that's all we see, bro. And it's like they They program us with that, bro. Like you said, it's like modern day porn, bro. Because all I see, and I make sure to unfollow and do all that stuff, but they still be injecting that into your timeline, right? Because they understand men and sex sells. However, most men, most real men, that's not what they're looking for. And a lot of you simps and a lot of people that pay for that stuff, it's really your fault because you're the one empowering them to do so. And now these women don't even fuck. First of all, they don't even fuck with you like that. They're using you for
They
your
laugh
money.
at you.
They
Yeah, they
laugh
laugh.
at you. They're using you for your money, and then you're now empowering them. And now they say they don't need no man. They don't want no man, and all that extra shit because you're empowering them. We need to do better as men in general. Not all men, but a lot of you men is the reasons why women are on OnlyFans selling their buttholes for $3.99.
Okay, yeah, definitely. The simps, y'all gotta go. But hey, but the women, y'all gotta take some accountability too. I don't know when it became cool to be a prostitute. Like now, it's just accepted. And this is the thing. Remember earlier when you said they'll sell you the product, but they won't use it themselves? Cardi B, I don't cook, I don't clean. She's married. She cooks and she cleans. Let's see, the City Girls, both in relationships, and they've been talking shit about men for years. Meg Thee Stallion, I think she's still in a relationship with that dude, but same thing. I do for myself all this independent shit. Beyonce, to the left. All my ladies, independent, throw your hands up. Married,
She
still
married.
all that shit. They will sell it to you, but they will not do it themselves. Steve Jobs, he wouldn't let his kids use an iPad. The CEO of Coca-Cola, he himself wouldn't drink Coke. The number one rule of drug dealing is never get high on your own supply. They will sell it to you and they do not use it themselves. So stop thinking that they have your best interests at heart, ladies. They are not teaching you anything of substance. It's for entertainment. I go to strip clubs too. They're fun. I like that music in that strip club. But overall, when you have a 14, 15, 16-year-old girl unsure about the way she looks, and you have these girls constantly telling them, oh yeah, get the bag, girl, take his money, fuck him and his friends, and take all their money, and do all this other bullshit. I'm like, as somebody who has a daughter, bro, no, I'm throwing bitches out the house. You hear that shit? And then literally, physically, get the fuck out of here, you demon. Do not put that into my daughter's head. That is not the thing. So even though we see a lot of it happening right now, both sides, of course, they got to take accountability. But if we're being quite honest, the propaganda machine is so strong at this point. Me and you can talk to we blue in the face, and people still gonna do it because it appeals to your lower self, your lower chakra, your carnal self. That's the self that wants fast food. That's the self that wants to pay for sex. That's the self that wants to get drunk and high every single day.
Don't be drinking soda, y'all. Be drink water.
Yeah, stop them carbonated drinks, my boys. Like all of that comes from your lower self. You know why? Because it's easy. It's very easy to appeal to that. So if you don't go past that, you feel like you have everything you need. You feel like, okay, I'm okay. I got food. I got me some McChickens, and I got me some fries, and I got me some chips and shit. All terrible food, terrible music, terrible vibes, terrible vibrations and frequencies. You're not elevating at all whatsoever. But that's what propaganda has done. It's showing you the carnal side that makes you feel good, and they market that to you. And then the side that actually helps you is hard. So most people are not going to go with it. They're not going to go with hard. They're just not. So it would be a better conversation if we can impact the kids' minds. That's why I do a Bitcoin summer camp as well, because I understand the importance of kids. My mother has run after school for 30 years and summer camp as well. And my grandmother was a teacher. I have an uncle that was a principal. So I have a lot of experience in the education field, and you got to get to the kids before other people do, or this is going to be another generation of the fuckery. I'm not trying to be 50, 60 years old still talking about this shit. That's another thing. The whole reason I'm doing this is because I'm tired of talking about it. That's the whole point. I don't want to be a 50-year-old niggas talking about some, damn, we still doing the same things we was 20 years ago. I don't want to do that shit. So hopefully we can have some radical responses to these problems and some radical changes. And hopefully, like I said, we won't convince everybody, but the right kid or the right person, somebody took this message today and they're going to be able to run with it.
If we can help, and that's what I said as well. If we can help one person, bro, our job here is done. It's one person that can change the world, one idea that can change the trajectory of a lot of things in life. And that's why I find it very important that we do have these conversations and that we do talk and that we do, communicate a little bit more, even though, I'm pissed off too, bro. You think I want to be talking about this? I was talking about this shit for 2 years straight on Clubhouse, bro. 2 years straight, bro.
Exactly, dog. I don't want to be talking about this shit when I'm old, man. Like, bro, you know how depressed I'm gonna be if I was like Al Sharpton still walking hand in hand across the Montgomery Bridge. with Jesse Jackson in the wheelchair and shit. We shall over. I'd be depressed as fuck walking across that bridge. I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to do that. I want to have to be telling niggas for the next 20 years, like, this is a solution. Like, no, I want to retire on my farm with my family, and everybody else can have their prosperity if they want to work for it. That's what I want.
Absolutely. The solution is to buy Bitcoin, guys. I'll go ahead and we'll wrap it up. Let's get your final thoughts because we've been on here for an hour and 40 minutes. We can go all day, but I want to keep. I respect your
I
time,
told you,
and
you had me fired up, man. You caught me at a perfect time.
absolutely. And I got boxing. I got to go to boxing here shortly. So I want to get your final thoughts here, and
Mm-hmm.
your take on rep. We'll take one or two questions. I want you to answer this question, and then we'll go to final thoughts. The question is thoughts on reparations. My thoughts on reparations is stop looking for a handout. They did what they did. You really think they're gonna give us reparations? They disrespected us first and foremost by giving Asians reparations, right? They want to give they want to give Asians reparations. They give the Indians, Native Americans tax-free exemptions, and they can own casinos, right? They have given gay rights, right? Now they're doing transgender rights. Now they're giving Asian people rights, right? So they're disrespecting us all the way around. And you really think for all this time you think they're just now going to give us reparations? No, they're not. Stop looking for a handout. Stop crying like a little bitch. Buy some Bitcoin. Opt out of the fucking system, and that's it. They're not going to give you no reparations. Stop talking about it. I don't want to hear about it anymore. But that's just my opinion. What are your thoughts, Zay?
Oh yeah. I have an entire chapter in my second book coming out. It's called Bitcoin as Reparations. First thing is, my father taught me nobody owes you shit. Let's start there as a starting point. Nobody owes you shit. Even if they do owe you, they don't owe you. Nobody owes you shit. So let's start there. Second thing is, when it comes to reparations and getting repaid for money, I want to save some of it for the book, but the main thing is reparations was not a government per se operation. It was a corporate driven entity where the slavery that occurred was so that you can make money for corporations who then impacted the government. So how do you take that money back? There's a few ways. One way is, the main way is buy Bitcoin, and those corporations will then have to pay you. They will have to give you reparations. You can take your reparations from them. You don't have to ask and grovel and try and get $5 million a piece. That shit ain't happening, right? You can take your reparations. They will pay you back for the money that was stolen before. Another way is you can do like my family did. We found the family that stole our land, and we took it back. We took our 300 acres back. We take your reparations back individually. You can find out the families that actually stole from you, or the corporations that actually took from you jobs, life, health, wealth, land, whatever it is. You can find them, and you can go get it back individually. If you're going to wait for the government, you're going to be waiting a long time. If you do get reparations, they're going to wait till the dollar ain't worth shit in the year 2030, and then they're going to give you reparations. And then they're going to start a civil war by saying the reason why inflation is as high as it is, the reason why money has a lower purchasing power is because we gave all these black people money, and now y'all go have at it. Because then it's going to be white versus black. Everybody going to fight each other. It's going to be stupid shit. So what I would say about reparations, I think it's a waste of energy. For those who want to do it, that's fine. That's your fight. I'm trying to figure out how to take my reparations. My family has figured it out. You should do the same. Take your shit back. If somebody stole your grandparents' house and you show up 2 generations later asking to live there, that's exactly what reparations is. If you show up with a lawyer and say, this house is mine, we can either go to court or you could just hand that shit over and get the fuck off my property. That's how you take back reparations. That's what I'm looking for. And I think Bitcoin is a great catalyst for that, because if you own an asset that banks can't buy and that individual corporations can't invest in right now, they're going to hand you reparations. They're going to be begging for your Bitcoin. They're going to pump this market in fiat value to holy hell, to the point where your grandkids and great grandkids will be so happy that grandpa and grandma were able to have Bitcoin, hold it, keep your private keys in cold storage, and save it for the future. So that's my take on reparations. Much more detailed, much more data in the book. It's a whole chapter on it. I think that's going to be the chapter that sparks the debates, because there is a lot of people that's like, no, we should keep fighting for it. I'm like, cool, y'all can keep wasting energy, but I don't see nothing but a bunch of old niggas out here trying to fight for something that they supposedly were supposed to get before. If we were supposed to get it, should have been fighting for it in 1864. As soon as Emancipation Proclamation ended, that's when it should have been started. At the latest, it should have been the Civil Rights Act. Like, that's what the fight should have been, because you could still trace back, like a lot of them, the people who were fighting, it's like their grandmother or their mother. So they could still trace it back to that time period. That should have been the fight. But 2023, You got to be shitting me if you think I'm about to go ask my oppressor to give me money that they owe me. Nigga, no. That's asking the school bully for your lunch money back. They're gonna punch you again and take more money. Like, no. If you've ever been in a business, any type of business deliberation, whenever they feel like you need them, they're gonna shit on you, bro. They're gonna shit on you. As soon as they realize you don't, then you can have a real business discussion. As soon as you say we're doing our own thing, you know what will happen tomorrow if a $10 billion market cap in Bitcoin came only from black people tomorrow? Like if it just showed up, just magic somehow, and black people just bought 10, and then it was 50 billion in another few months, and then it was 100 billion worth of Bitcoin. You know what they'll start doing? Hold up, y'all leaving the banks? Y'all don't trust us no more? We don't have any more leverage? No, fuck you. Y'all, well, maybe we can exchange that Bitcoin for these dollars in the bank. Or maybe you can suck my dick. That would be the leverage you need. You have to think like that in order to get respect. This nice shit, I'm not with that. Save that for the women. They want to be empathetic and nice and hug and cry and bring people together. I don't. I want war. I want to, if motherfuckers literally actively trying to take my livelihood from me and my own sentience and my own personhood from me, that is worth your life, bro, or you don't have one. Die on your feet rather than live on your knees.
Whoo. Fire, brother. Fire. Oh, man, you said something, but I forgot. I forgot what I was going to say, but it's all good. Final thoughts, where can they follow you at? Make sure you guys hit that like, share, subscribe, and share. And Bitcoin Zay, where can they follow you at for those that don't follow you already, because they should be following you if they don't?
Yeah, so at Bitcoin Zay on Twitter, at the Isaiah Jackson on Instagram. Follow me there. Make sure you tune in to the Gentleman of Crypto Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern. Me and my co-host King dropping his fire, longest running show in Bitcoin history. There's a reason for that. Make sure anybody that's watching tune in. For the Warriors who are in the chat, shout out to you. Didn't have a show today, but I wanted to put on a show for you this afternoon. So appreciate you guys.
Absolutely, man. And with that being said, man, it's been a pleasure speaking with you, man. It's been an hour and 46 minutes, and it feels like it's only been like 30 minutes, brother. You feel like we've been talking for that long.
Oh, yeah.
But much love to you, man. Success, and we're going to continue to build. And now that you're here in Florida, my brother's down in Sunny Isles, and I know some people down in Miami, so I'll definitely come down and visit ASAP Rocky. If you ever want to come up to Orlando, I got the hookup at Hilton, so we can go chill at a resort. Hilton, I got the hookup on that, so we can just hang out there. You can hang out at the resort, no biggie. With that being said, you guys, make sure you go to swanbitcoin.com/Bitcoin Chris. Get $10 free Bitcoin. Make sure you get Isaiah Jackson's Black 2 is coming
next month at the Bitcoin conference.
Awesome. And let's see. Besides that, man, it's been a pleasure speaking with you, and we'll definitely chop it up. I'll text you in a little bit, and appreciate you coming on and dropping these gems for us, man, because it's very conversations. I agree with you with a lot of things, and I like I said, I appreciate your time, man. So thank you so much for hopping on, man.
Likewise, appreciate the invite, my brother. I'll talk with you soon.
All right, brother. Have a good day.
Cheers.
And with that being said, guys, it's Bitcoin Chris checking out. And I go, once again, the sponsors of this podcast is Colourpop. If you are a woman who needs to improve their hair, nail, and skin, Colourpop not only has all 5 types of collagen, it actually also helps you burn stubborn body fat. So what you can do is you can go to colourpop.com, and you guys can get 35% off with the code 35. Make sure you hit that like. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share. I just posted a video went live, so make sure you check out that video. Also, Bitcoin is looking like it's retracing right now, so we hit that coming down a little bit. However, stack up DCA. It don't matter the price of Bitcoin. Value of Bitcoin much the value of Bitcoin is opinion. So this $20,000, $30,000 level is pennies compared to what it will be in the future, because we understand that the real value of Bitcoin, it's priceless, right? So with that being said, yes sir, much love to you guys. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Make sure you hit that like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share. Follow me on Instagram at ChrisKnight407. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at ChrisKnight407, and I'll see you guys soon. Bitcoin Chris checking out. Bitcoin tatted. I got no fear, and we're getting with